This podcast is for educational purposes only and doesn't consider your personal circumstances.
Welcome to Total Money Management. We're back in a broken studio again. So
Yes.
This will be one of the last times.
Makeshift. Everything's in transition.
I know, including TMM.
We're
Yes.
getting there.
Look at
We're
that.
getting there.
We
We're getting
cannot we cannot avoid cycles either.
No, we can't. That's true. I think we should talk about the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant?
Queensland's magnificent victory last night in the State of Origin.
Cheers. Well done.
What? From an Englishman?
And, well, I'm
Hey?
Aussie for the rugby.
Oh. Hey?
If you can't adapt,
What a classic.
Adapt.
You Poms, you're shockers.
adapt or die. And I've got the England shirt on because England
I
won.
know. Are they playing tonight?
No, they won this morning, Croatia, 4-2.
Did you
Was
get
that
up and
the-
watch it?
Yeah, it was a 6 a.m. kickoff,
that's
so
right.
easy.
Was that
easy.
the penalty goal from Harry Kane?
Yeah, Kane, got the penalty and then they got 3 more.
Oh, did they? I saw the penalty on Twitter and some guy wrote, "Oh my God, a brilliant goal." And I looked at it and went, "Oh, please."
Well,
yeah,
it's a
Steve could have
penalty
done better.
goal. You know, like even I could have probably knocked it in.
Well, he
It's
missed
like-
the first one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so he missed it, and then the goalie came off the line too early, so he had to retake it and then
Right.
scored. So it wasn't his best penalty.
It's a stupid game anyway. Play rugby league.
Well, the war's over.
Sorry?
In good news. The war's over, son.
The war's over.
Everything-
Absolutely.
The world's gone back to normal now.
Cheers, gents.
Yeah.
Robert,
Well
oil's
done.
back to what? $72 a barrel.
Full
Probably be
steam
50
ahead.
next week.
I'll see you at Cape of 70.
I think the Cape can just go to infinity now.
Well, it got to 100 in Japan.
Yeah, that's true. But surely not.
But then
Look, honestly, we will get into that. We'll say with Tom's point.
Yeah.
Yes, the war is kind of over.
So what's happened? Because I saw a treaty document 2 or 3 months ago that was 20 points and basically all in Iran's favour. And now there's a new
now
one.
there's only 14 points.
Okay, good.
But it's still all in Iran's favour.
Oh, well, right. And
So-
he signed this one.
Yes, I think. It has to be honestly. It has to be said. To me, it seems like it's the greatest capitulation that I've seen in a long time.
Is it taco, but on steroids?
No, I don't agree with that argument. I think people say, "Oh, Trump always chickens out," and I don't think so because, in some ways, it's probably worse because Trump. You know, like the Americans have tariffs now, right? Well, they didn't have they didn't have that many tariffs before Trump. So he's done stuff. It's just some of it's been a really, really bad.
Yeah.
Right. And this is one thing that's like not gone that well.
Yeah.
So
Well, so he's capitulated over the fact that the oil's running out.
didn't they have plenty of oil and it was all going to be fine? And then
Yeah,
not
yeah.
long later, he's
Yeah.
like, actually.
someone must have, someone must have sort of like hit the side of the tin. It's like, oh, the oil's a bit low. We better tell Donald.
It's like me in the morning checking the water tank.
That's what I mean, checking the water tank, right? Oh, it's a little lower than we thought. Listen, we better give Iran 300 billion and whatever they want. But the things are, I mean, seriously, you look at it, and now Donald Trump's saying, oh, Iran should have ballistic missiles. And they went, why? And he went, oh, well, everyone else has got them.
Fair game.
I mean, they're
Hopefully he's not going to give them to him.
well, no, but what he's saying is, well, yeah, that's probably a point. But they're giving Iran 300 billion. But then Trump says, oh, well, the Americans are not going to pay for it. And the Gulf countries, Saudi, Qatar, and them are going, okay, well, who's going to pay for it? Because we don't think we're paying for it. And they've got the shites because Iran bombed them. And now and Trump's sort of like saying, well, yeah, it won't be American money. It's like, okay, well, it's not going to be Middle East money. It's not going to be American money.
It might be from his
Who's stumping
Cayman
with-
bank accounts.
Well, it may be, yeah.
Trump Jr.'s Bitcoin account.
Well,
Go on.
I know someone who can pay it.
Who?
The man, Elon,
Oh, the richest man on earth.
the trillionaire.
Is he a trillionaire?
We
He's a
got the first. We got the world's first trillionaire. I saw a stat.
And the trillionaire with 13 kids to 13.
Yeah,
different moms.
yeah, and 4 horses. What was? I saw a stat the other day. Some guy said his wealth now is I think 1.4 trillion or something, or 1.14, and that is more than the bottom 3.5 billion people. So more than the bottom 50% essentially of the global population.
He's got, yeah. Well,
I mean, it's insane, mate.
It's paper money though. He couldn't.
Yeah. It's basically tied up with
But
the shares.
he could borrow indefinitely now.
Well, that's what they do. They borrow against their shares, and then they write it off the interest.
Yeah.
They write off the interest.
He's got unlimited money now.
So anyway, that's good news. SpaceX has launched,
yeah. Have you bought?
metaphorically and literally.
Did you buy any?
No.
You were
Please.
telling me you were going to put it all in.
Stop it.
Yeah, that was your tip in the newsletter last week. that and the cab driver.
Yeah, buy on Friday and sell on Tuesday.
Well, I think I was reading. Well, I was reading something the other day. It needs to 600 times its current market cap to be worth its current
revenue
to be worth its current valuation.
Why don't you look at the AI companies?
Well, they're exactly
They're the
same.
same.
Or worse.
They're the same. They've made, and I'm getting this roughly, they have made something like, I think, 20 billion, right, in revenue. But they've got to make next year, they say they're going to make 700 billion, right? So, you look at that and go, guys, I don't see a pathway from 20 billion to 700.
Yeah, I made a video the other day. It's small supermarket chains make more revenue than these huge conglomerates.
I think, and it feeds into what we're sort of generally giving people the vibe. Things are getting a little out of hand. People now, and I shouldn't say people like Musk and Sam Altman, Dario Adame, who runs Anthropic, they're basically just saying whatever they want, right? And everything
they're committed to it now.
Well, yeah, but the problem, Jacob, is everything they're saying is now not coming true. So we're gonna, this is gonna put everybody out of work. Actually, no, we're not going to put everybody out of work. We're going to cure cancer. Actually, no, we're not going to cure cancer. We don't use that much electricity and water in data set. Actually, yeah, we do use a fair bit of it. And then I think what the creme de la creme was this week or last week was, they worked on subscription, right? Tom, $30 a week and you can, claudify yourself into hell, right? Then they say, actually, Tom, we're not going to charge you $30. Now you've got to pay by the token. Right, and a token is basically a word.
Yeah,
you get more words, you got to pay more, right? So then they say to Tom, "Listen, Tom, here's 10,000 free tokens, but now we'll bill you per token." So that's where you got the issue a few weeks ago, where a company ran up $500 million in tokens, right? And of course,
they didn't have a spending cap on the tokens.
So they called it token maxing. Right, so it was just like, it was basically saying, use as much AI as you can, right? Because the idea was, this thing's brilliant, use as much of it as you can, right? So they do that, they get the bill, and then they go, holy hell, look at the bill. So then what happened was, Sam Altman, I think last week, started price discounting, right? And reducing the price. But they're not making money. So you're not making money and you now have to reduce the price. So when you look at it and say, hang on, I thought this thing was going to, change the world, and you're already discounting the prices and it hasn't even hit the market properly and fully yet.
Yeah, it's not stacking up to its expectations, particularly the valuations. When you look at things like they're projecting 700 billion and they're currently doing less than sometimes 10 billion.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you possibly do that in a year?
You can't, Jacob. And that's what I mean. When this is the stuff with Elon saying, we're going to have data centers in space. Oh, great. And it's like, have you spoken to a physicist about this? What happens if it breaks down? We'll just shoot someone up to fix it.
We'll live there.
Honestly, this is the same guy that said, I'll have 1 million robo-taxis by the end of 2026. He's got 93. Right? Yeah. This is a guy who said in 2014...
Hang on, he's a trillionaire.
That's true, Tom. That's a good point. We'll get some great social media on this, right? But, seriously, these people are just saying whatever they want, right? Yeah. And the problem is investors are getting drunk on it, and it's
just pumping up their share price.
Tom, 150%, 1 trillion %, right? Because and this is what I mean.
I just clicked. Well done.
No, you're a bit slow, mate. But that's this is the problem at the moment. I keep looking at it going, am I the mad one here? Because and probably am, because everybody else just seems to be completely disconnected from reality, right? And that's what I mean. They open the Strait. It's probably 3 months before it starts humming again, but oil drops $10 to $15 a barrel.
Well, it's like you said before we started recording. People have only ever, it's not Australian property and everything else for the last 20 years, people have only really ever won. So they've never never really lost. So they
not a long-term loss.
No, and most people aren't in their 60s. They're kind of investing in their 30s to 40s, and they've never really seen a crazy loss.
Yeah.
So they're looking at going, well, it can't. And all of this is stacking up. Everyone else is winning. SpaceX went to IPO, and it's up 42% in a week. Yeah. So they still haven't lost. And then we're the sober guys in the party going, maybe we need to leave now.
Yeah.
This is
it's
crazy.
We all, and we're segueing into our different section here, but everyone sees the world from their own point of view, right? That we all trust our own eyes and ears rather than anybody else.
Yes.
Right. And so, but what that happens is, the feedback we get generally resonates with our beliefs and desires, right? I want to be rich, I'm investing and I'm making money. I must know what I'm doing. I must be really good at this, right? Without actually saying, well, I'll take my portfolio to TMM and they can look at it and go, dude, do you really know what you're doing here?
Yeah.
Right? And they're sort of like, yeah, I've got SpaceX and I've got all these really great tech companies. And we're going, okay, do you know what a price to sales ratio is? No, but it's, Elon said we're going to put data centers on the moon. Right?
Or something even simpler. What are you going to do if it starts to lose?
Yes. Yeah. And so that's where it's really important, because at the moment I get this vibe that everybody's looking at the performance doing well and going, I know what I'm doing, right? And the metaphor I often use is everybody's drunk at the party. You walk in sober and go, guys, you're knocking over glasses and bottles, things are getting really carried away. And everybody's going, no, it's fine, dude, everything's really great, right? But because you're an outsider, you're seeing a different reality. You're not invested in it. So you're looking at it going, these guys are like really legless.
Yeah, what's wrong with these
guys?
Yeah.
It's like these people are stupid.
Should go to bed.
But when you're in the group, you don't see that.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's interesting, right? Because you can say usually that lens is unlocked with experience, but not necessarily, because some people in the party and drunk are very experienced as well, including financial advisors or things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was just listening to Seth Klarman, who's a really experienced and billionaire value investor, right? And what the argument is value investors are really canny because they buy value, right? But in the GFC, and I remember this clearly, before the GFC, value investors got just as badly murdered as growth investors. And that was a real shock to them, right? Because they were like, hey, I'm buying $1 for 50 cents. And it's like, I know, now it's 15 cents, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
because it all goes with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean, Tom. When things get this carried away, you look at it and go, oh, man, everyone's going to get injured, right? The innocent won't be protected. They're going to cop it as well.
Yeah. The cheap can get cheaper.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And so that's where I think we're at.
And that's why I think Cape's so brilliant, because it's an overall yardstick for where the market's at.
And it's so simple, right? And as I say, when you look at the SpaceX IPO, everybody loves it.
It's sexy.
Right? Yeah, well, it's exciting.
Yeah, but it's also it's also the hype that's going with it, right? Fund managers love it. Why? Well, they're putting it in their portfolio and their clients are loving it because they didn't realise they've made 10% just on SpaceX, right? The lawyers love it. right? Lawyers love it because they're getting all these legal documents with the IPO and all this sort of stuff, right? Banks love it. Why? Because they're lending on margin because, Jacob over there, who's 25 wants to borrow 10 grand because he wants to buy SpaceX, right? All of this sort of stuff. So the ETF providers love it, right? There's already a leveraged single SpaceX ETF.
Oh, yikes.
Right? Now it's been out less than a week and they've already gone, bingo, we've got a leveraged SpaceX ETF.
Wow.
Right? Retail people love it.
Hey,
I bought it on Friday and I'm up 40% already. What could go wrong?
Yeah, the punters
Absolutely.
that were going to punt on the horses this weekend have punted on SpaceX instead.
Absolutely. But more importantly, Jacob, they're up 40%.
And they're up, yeah. So they're going to keep going.
Absolutely. It's going to go to the moon, right?
Just before, and I'm tangenting a little bit, but I'm worried about the amount of ETFs that are just being popped up and created and the margin and the loans that go into that.
Oh, yeah.
If that pops, like even from a private credit perspective, that's not going to fall slowly. Yeah. That's going to pop and bring things down.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is there's so many things that could pop and bring things down.
That's exactly right.
Well, there's no liquidity. If everyone wants, if there's three of us want to sell and there's no liquidity to sell, nothing happens.
Well, that's what's a little bit.
There'll be someone with a buy at a price that's pretty far off where it is now.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening, Tom, in the property market, right? The property market's starting to really, cool, shall we say.
Is it?
Right? And now, why? The narrative's changed.
Yeah.
Right? The tax advantages have gone away, but importantly, people have gone, oh, okay, now I actually have to really think about it. Right, rather than just blindly buying, making money, and then going, "Hey, I know what I'm doing." Right, and that's why I say, Tom, you're right there because when you look at it, the concern I have is if the Cape's 42, that's crazy, right? But generally, you could go, okay, well, bonds are cheap. Oh, all right, well, I'll buy some bonds, right? Or I'll buy some gold. Gold is really cheap. Or, I'll buy Bitcoin, right, because it's really cheap. Oh, cool. But the problem is everything's expensive. And that to me is a worry because what that says is everything's made money. There's a lot of people who have made money. And at some point, a lot of people are going to go, maybe we should take some profit. And so what happens? You'll get this contagion where everybody starts selling. And you get a standard thing where it starts falling, sell, start falling, sell. So you just get the contagion on the way down, right? Rather than, and it just works on the flip side, right? I'm buying because everyone's buying. I'm selling. Why? Because everyone's selling. And that just makes it worse.
Yeah, I don't want to be
But the problem is we've seen right now how volatile markets are. Like a single Trump announcement tomorrow could tank it 5%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's kind of at a point where anything could happen.
Absolutely.
It could just be a single announcement.
Yeah. Well, and it often is.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You touched on it before about oil dropping. Well, it's at 77 US now. It was at 100 less than 8 weeks ago, or just over 8 weeks ago. That's based on purely announcements. The supply of oil's been getting more and more and more constrained. And
Absolutely.
still is. Like the Strait's not necessarily open now. It's going to take, 60 days-ish to start moving oil around again?
Yeah. Well, it takes a month. You think about it. You've got to get the ships in.
Pumped up.
Right? You've got to get them out. Now, point number one, you've got to get the ships in. Oh, Jacob, we'd like you to sail your very large crude carrier up through the Strait of Hormuz.
And there's 100 waiting.
And guess what? I don't know whether your insurance will cover it. They kind of got this agreement, but
And we're not sure it's going to hold. Just give it a crack, mate.
And then when you get there, listen, they'll probably have some oil. We're not sure what's going on there. Then you've got to get out, and then you've got to make a month on the sea to get it to Asia.
Yeah. There is no logical reason.
At $77.
Yeah.
If it was 150, you'd be going, okay, I'm gonna hit the pedal, right, and get it there. $77, you're not going to rush.
I don't know how they've managed to keep the price so low.
Because they're manipulating it. But this is why I say, if you said to me, Steve, here's the conditions, what do you think? I'd say, oil should be 120, 130, 140, and it's 77.
Yeah.
So you look at it and go, okay, how does that work?
Yeah, when everything else is so
Absolutely.
so gangbusters.
That's what I mean. It's just absolutely nuts. And that's why I'm saying everybody's become untethered from, look, we could be wrong. We could be wrong. But I'm not surmising about the oil situation, right? And the American president has just said we were going to run out of oil. So obviously I think we're pretty accurate in saying there seems to be a problem with oil, right? So, this is where you look at it. But the corollary from that is every single country has now gone, Jesus Christ, we can't trust these guys. Right? So what do? Well, you buy a bucket load of oil, right? Because
you can't resources.
You can't trust it. And then the Iranians have said in 60 days, after 60 days, we're going to put fees on it.
It's like the toilet paper COVID situation.
Yeah. But even worse, Tom,
start
they're
taxing
going to double. They're going to double the place, double the price of wiping your bum, right? Because now, so this is why I say
only 2-ply.
Well, it's such a capitulation, right? Because the Iranians have had, their economies are shambles. Look, it's not great in Iran, right? There's no doubt about that. But they basically said to the US, this is what we want, and Trump has given them everything, right? And he hasn't even managed to secure the nuclear material, right? So I'm looking at it like it's 1965 and it's the Vietnam War, right? And this is the start of a really ugly decade, right? Which was the same as what happened in the Vietnam War. The Cape was 28. Right, the war started and inflation raged, right? Oil prices shot through the roof, right? We had more wars in the Middle East, right? And we had 15 years where the market went down and you lost 50% of your money over 15 years, right? And that's I'm doing research on that, trying to put together a sort of coherent argument as to why I think that's going to be the case. Because people are saying, okay, is it 50% in 1 year, a la GFC, or is it 50% in 10 years? Sort of, we make 5, it goes down 15. Then we make 8 and it goes down 12, right? So you sort of...
like the 60s period or the 80s period.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm still researching that, because I think it's important for your asset allocation. But at the moment, I mean, honestly, well,
it could be...
You need to be really seriously prudent.
I mean, the reality is it could be either of those scenarios or one of a million in between. But the fact is the Cape's at 41.
Yeah.
We've had a cyclical bull market for 17 or 20 years.
Yeah, yep.
And it doesn't matter which way it goes because it's probably going to end up in the same position.
Yeah. It'll end up being really cheap. How do we get there by 2029 or do we get there by 2036? It's like, doesn't matter, it's still cheap.
Exactly.
Right, you're still losing money.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, let's not try and catch the falling knife in between.
Yeah.
Because the next decade in this market is something that we're probably going to be avoiding.
Well, the next decade is in my mind is commodities, right? And like I said, if you're a government and look at the Japanese, right? The Japanese get 90% of the oil out of the Strait of Hormuz, right? You're the Japanese Prime Minister and they come to you and say, listen, Buggerlugs over there at the Atlantic has just capitulated and given Iran everything they want, and we've been supporting Buggerlugs, right? So Iran's not going to do Japan any favours, right? And in fact, they'll favour China, who loves that because the Chinese want to give Japan a bit of a touch-up, right? Well, what are the Japanese going to do?
There's massive risk there. So, this is forcing everyone to kind of look at how dependent they are on each other. Yeah,
100%. And so what do? You say, right, we just keep buying an absolute bucket load of oil, right? We get our own strategic petroleum reserve. And while we're at it, we'll get it for rare earths and iron ore and bauxite and copper and boom, 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 right? Now, times that by 150 countries.
Yeah, shortage.
Shortage. Well, as I said,
the price will go up.
Yeah. As I said, it's like, you can have bananas. They're $30 a kilo. How many do you want?
Not for Jacob.
So
The
you got a
man's
banana
got
tree.
Trees,
The
many.
The banana man.
Have you got a banana tree?
I've got about 30 of them.
Really?
Yeah, I had to chop a bunch down
Where?
on the driveway going around. So I don't think you've been around the driveway that circles up to the house, but all around.
Yeah.
So you're looking over the hill, and there's about 30 banana trees
Next
up.
to his pineapples.
Oh, yeah. Okay, on the opposite side of the driveway.
Yeah, on that-
Yeah,
looking-
okay,
looking
gotcha.
down the hill.
Okay. Oh, Lady Fingers or Cavendish?
Ladies, mate.
Oh,
Yeah,
good man,
the
good man.
ones.
We were having the next retreat at your place.
Well, I touched on experience before briefly.
Yes.
On like experience. Oh, this is just my opinion. Anyone can have experience. If you've been around for 30 or 40 years and you've invested in markets, you technically have experience. But getting the right kind and understanding when to be in or out, or that's a piece of skill that not many people have, even
Yeah.
with experience.
Yeah.
So how do we assess that?
I think I've sort of say to people, if this is your first rodeo, then you want to be really prudent. And I mean, you know, put a number on it. Okay, I'd be 20% maximally invested.
Right.
So if you said to me, Steve, I got 10 grand, I'd say, okay, we'll have 2,000 in stocks and have 8,000 in cash.
And keep
That's
them
how
balanced.
I would divide it up at the moment.
Right.
And then, but also saying, well, if you've got an income and your income supports your lifestyle, then okay, just, you know, what I'm sort of saying, Jacob, is there are times where you go, hey, go
At
to
the
the
house.
bank, borrow and buy stocks, right? And the GFC was that time, right? Now is the time to say, okay, I need to be really prudent. I need to lock down and I need to just weather this coming storm. And it could be 12 months. Because what happens is you look at your portfolio and say, oh, my portfolio's gone from 200 to 600, right? But what you don't realise is, how would you feel if it went back to 300? Well, I can tell you, you'd be really devastated, but you can't see that, right? And if you haven't been through the cycles before, it's impossible to feel it, right? Where I know what it's like because I've felt I felt losing gobs of money and going, oh man, right? And so when I look at things like Cape and the like you said, the 17-year bull market and stuff, and I'm going, I remember the last feeling that I had when I lost a bucket load of money. I don't think I'm going to do that this time.
Not afraid of taking profit.
Yeah. And so, and to sit on the sideline because, the other Buffett's been selling down for 3 years, right? And but imagine now if the market crashes and that old bastard's got 400 billion where he goes, fantastic.
On the road to 1 trillion.
At 96, the old bugger goes and, snatches up more of Apple or whatever, right? And, carks it at 98 and then, in 10 years' time, they'll be making a mozza again, right? Because it's the same formula all the time, right? The market goes up, then it crashes. The market goes up, then it crashes. The market goes up, then it crashes, right?
But answer me this. So there's people as how do I say, as old as you that's been around a bit.
Yeah, 63.
That also have an opposing opinion. They've been through cycles. They've seen the crashes.
Yeah.
And they're like, this time's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how the
But they say that every time.
And that's what I mean. How do you not learn?
Yeah,
Like,
but I think what Jacob's saying, Tom, is old people like me who have done 3 rodeos are going, no, Tom, SpaceX, it's, dude, even an old guy like me gets it, right? I think my rebuttal to that is they're either in the finance industry, right? Which is, almost compulsory to be bullish.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, and I was thinking about this on the way in, when you look at the economy, right, when people say this time is different, you have to not say the technology is different, right? You have to look at the money, right? Now, you have a different set of companies, right? But they're still companies.
They're still a new era for the same
Right?
company.
Whether they're Elon Musk or Steve Moriarty, it's still the companies. the thing you have to say is, okay, how's the money going to be distributed? And I said this, I think, a few months ago. There's two things, capital, which is the business owners, and the workers, which is the staff, right? Now, you can introduce AI, right? You can introduce SpaceX. You can introduce Doritos corn chips. The market will still say, well, some's got to go to Tom, who's the business owner, and some's got to go to Steve, who's the worker. Nothing's changed, right? And that's why when people say this time's different, no one ever goes the next step and says, oh, okay, do tell. How's it different? Oh, well, we've got AI. It's like, okay, but, we had railways. Okay, tell me how it's different. Oh, well, they're going to make more money in businesses. Oh, okay, so what happens? Then they sack people. Cool. So what happens to those people? Oh, well, they end up being poor. It's like, oh, okay, and then the economy crashes, right? So nothing's different. Nothing's different. And that's, people get distracted by those arguments, right? And as Schiller points out, it always, well, it shouldn't be always, but it mainly revolves around technology. Hey, we've got these railroads. So everybody, like, oh my God, they're going to connect everything and it's going to be unbelievable.
It's like
right?
.com.
Yeah, 100%. And this one is, and it's always in the future, right? AI is going to be brilliant. When? In the future. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but it's not working now. Yeah, but in the future it will. And it's like, well, shouldn't it be working now? It's like, well, yeah, kind of, right? And that's where you look at the economics of it and go, this stuff doesn't make sense.
What it costs to build and run these data centers versus
absolutely,
what they get,
and the energy they suck up, right? The water they suck up. 85% of Americans don't want data centers, and you sort of look and go, okay. Like you said before, we're going to make 700 billion. Oh man, that's fantastic. No one ever goes, okay, can you give me a pathway there? Because you guys are on 6 million at the moment.
Yeah, well, if everyone wants us to launch their products into space, and they all pay us to do it,
absolutely.
This time next year, gents, where TMM's going to make 700
trillion. We'll do a pod from space.
TM on Mars.
Good one.
I can see it now. I can see it now. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to... It's been something I've been thinking about for a while. There are people that are experienced that are still really bullish. And it doesn't make sense to me because people have been through these things. They've seen it before and they're still blinded. It's interesting to me.
It's a good point. I hadn't thought about it. But I suspect, Jacob, and I don't like to be... And, I don't know whether I'm right. I'm just looking at it saying things look crazy. Yeah. And the valuations are crazy and the margin debt's crazy. SpaceX is crazy. The IPOs are crazy. And all of these things are signs of a market top.
Yeah. But also, it never just goes up mindlessly. There's always some sort of correction. So.
Yeah. It could take 6 months, right? It could take 12 months. It could take 18 months. But my point on that is when people go, hey, dude, you missed out on 20%, it's like, okay, well, tell me when to sell. And they don't know when to sell. No. So you don't miss out on anything because they're the people who go from 100 to 150 back to 60, right? And you look like an idiot, but you were sitting on 115.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing we talked about with the earnings yield.
Yeah, well, look, in a few days we're going to release a special on mastering the market cycles. But just to lead into that, to kind of give people a bit of an idea on kind of what we're covering and what we're talking about, we want to talk about some of Friedman's philosophy on the storm before the calm.
Yes.
And I mean, at the minute, the US is redefining its own foreign policy. It's not the first time we're talking about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about it for a while.
Yep.
But the first step, I guess, is identifying its overriding interests, again, which we've talked about a while. Everyone is becoming a little bit more tribal.
Yeah.
So what can we talk about now which will lead people into, listening next week when we release Mastering the Market Cycles?
The thing we're going through at the moment, and again, which is not different, is this is why history is really valuable, right? And it's also why cycles are really valuable. George Friedman has been an ex-CIA guy. Long story short, writes books about geopolitics. He's really good. Buy his book. It's called The Calm Before the Storm. The Storm Before the Calm, sorry. So what Friedman is saying is, his thesis is, okay, there's an institutional cycle, an economic cycle, and a social cycle, right? And they vary, right? Some are 80 years, some are 50 years, right? What they've got, and what he said, bearing in mind, he wrote this in, I think, 2019. He said that the 2020s would be a decade of chaos and crisis because the three cycles were coming together. And the last time that happened was generally, and again, this is part of my theme of the Vietnam War stuff, was the mid-60s, right? So what you've got is...
Well, I've heard there's people talking about 40 and 80 year cycles.
Yeah, well, that's what he's talking about, right? The institutional cycle, I think, is 80 years. So at the moment, everybody hates government, right? There's zero trust in government. In the business cycle, it's the free trade globalisation era, it's over, right? So now what we're doing, and in the social cycle, you've got the stuff like political correctness, right, with transgenderism, you know, all this PC sort of stuff.
Yeah, watching your P's and Q's.
Yes, all that sort of stuff, right? And so what he's saying is that's actually coalesced together, and the 2028 election or the 2032 election is the critical ones where the cycle sort of switches and we spend the 2020 to 2030 in this really ugly situation where we are now, where there's a crisis all the time, right? The wealth inequality is raging, right? Mr. Trillionaire.
Well, people are pissed off, and you can see it in even Australia. We even talked about Hanson. That's probably required 30 minutes on its own. But people are going, we need to find something
We've
different.
got to do something different.
Yeah. And that's what happened in the 60s, right? You got the rise of the Vietnam War, the anti-war movement, you got feminism, you got raging inflation, right? All of these things came together to create the chaos, right? And Friedman is saying we're in the next edition of that, right? And the thing that he said, he also said, you know, the 2024 president would be the last. I shouldn't say 20. Well, yeah, 24. The last president would be looked at as a failed president. Well, that's Donald Trump, right? And
this guy's not a fortune teller, just to kind of. He's not someone reading glass balls.
No. He's excellent, and he does geopolitics and war strategy and stuff, and it's based on mainly 2 points. One is demography, right, and the other one is geography, right? Because war is based on geography, and we're seeing that at the moment, right? The US can't go in and do what they want anymore, right? Part of it is also you can't go into Iran, put boots on the ground because it's really awful terrain, right? How do you do the logistics, right? All of this sort of stuff that you tend to sort of go, why don't they just go in there and kill them all? It's like, because it's not as easy as doing that.
Yeah, well, they couldn't even do it. They've never been able to do that. World War I, World War II.
Absolutely.
It's never
Absolutely.
been. I mean, Germany had a pretty successful time in doing it, but Europe's connected.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the same
yeah.
terrain.
Well, Friedman said, I thought was really clever. Friedman said, you know, the Americans have never won a war outside of Desert Storm since World War II.
Yeah.
Right? So they lost.
They came in at the end anyway.
Well, yeah. but you see what I mean? Like the Americans have been in Vietnam? Nah. They got Afghanistan? Nah. Iraq? Nah. Okay, so what's left? And now they've gone into Iran and they've got their bums handed to them on the platter there. Right? So this is where the psychology affects the American psyche, because instead of celebrating a win, what they're doing now is going, everybody's laughing at us. Right? Everybody's holding us in contempt.
Well,
right?
to kind of link it back to the socioeconomic cycle and the failed president, this could be what he's saying, where Donald Trump's the failed president.
Yes.
That institutes a lot of change. Well, but I would argue that if you look at the Biden administration, unless it's just America now, but the Biden administration, the Obama administration, the change was Trump. No, like
in 16.
Yeah,
in 2016.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then again now, where the American people have gone, we need to do something different. We're going to get some radical idiot in.
yes, yeah.
So could you argue that was the change, or
Yeah,
we're just
well-
going to go back to a normal?
No. What Friedman is saying is this kicked off in about 2016 with Donald Trump.
Got it. Okay.
Right?
Right.
And it's been continuing on. And so he said, the next 15 years from 16 to 30 will be really ugly and messy.
Right.
Because what we're doing, and so this is the storm, right? And what he's saying is in 2032, the election, that's when the new president will be able to set a new kind of agenda, right? And his argument is when people look at America and go, oh man, it's in decline, blah, blah, blah. His argument is, no, it's not. It's just reorganising itself.
Yeah.
Right? And, I'm not doing it justice on this podcast, but it's a really good read, right? And it gives you a really good perspective because what he's able to do, and this is probably the most frightening line I read in the whole book, right? And being a finance guy, right? And he wrote, whatever, I'm going to quote this, right? Whatever the underlying issues, and we got plenty of them, most cycles end or begin in financial crisis.
Which tracks really for the last few.
We've just spent 30 minutes going, dude, things are looking really, really bad.
Well, go back-
This could be a financial crisis.
We'll go back to the 20s. Go
Absolutely.
back to the Depression. It's
Absolutely.
the same thing.
Absolutely.
100 years before.
Absolutely. That's why I say to you, these, you've got to pay attention to cycles because we, like I said, in our own experience, we live in the world that we live in. History is like 100 years ago, right? And it's like, well, I never lived then. I don't know. We are different now, right? Which is what you were saying, Tom, right? This time is different. You look at history and go, bullshit, look at this. This CAPE ratio thing indicates we're going to go to hell in a handbasket, right? And you go, no, it's different. It's like, really? I'll bet you if you lived through the GFC, you wouldn't be going, this time's different, right? And that's what I'm saying. I was there in the .com, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why the thing that frightens me about Friedman is saying it ends or begins in a financial crisis, right? And that's where I look at it and go, everybody's speculating, young people are betting on Bitcoin, old people are betting on property, the wealthy own most of the stocks, poor people are betting on footy matches. It's just off the charts.
Yeah.
It's just off the charts. And
Everyone's stressed.
Tom, 100%. We're yelling at each other in cars, all of this sort of stuff. And you just sort of look at it and go, man, this can't, this has got to stop.
I'm just thinking, what is different this time? And correct me if I'm wrong. Birth rates are different this time.
Absolutely.
So everything's very similar, but we're not having a fresh blood.
Yeah.
We're not having a new influx of fresh.
Well, that's why they're racing to robots.
People have too much time on their hands creating problems instead of looking after kids.
Yeah. I saw a really great article today. Guess what it was? America's old people, right? This is what we've come to. America's old people think that young Americans should pay more tax to fund the social security of old people.
Thanks, boomers.
Right?
Yeah, and we think the old people
Should start coughing up a bit.
Should sell their properties and give the cash to someone.
chuck it here.
Tom, let me put it to you this way. If the old people with all the dosh decide that they don't want to do that, they may find that they might be on the end of some serious violence, right? Because young people have had a gutful, right? And at some point they say, hey, I've had enough of this, right? And we're already seeing hints of that, right? And that's why I say when you're in it, you've got to step outside and say to yourself, hang on, is this,
what's going on?
What's going on here? What's going on here? And you have to be a little bit brave or daring to sort of say, you know what, I think I'm just going to sell my portfolio down and, just hang in cash for a bit, right? You're not going to lose anything, right? It's if you sit out of a market for 12 months out of, you guys are 30, right? Well, you're not going to look back and go, oh, man, Steve got it wrong. I sat out for a year in 2027 and, Now I'm only a billionaire, not a trillionaire.
I'm really open about it with people that ask me. I've been 60 to sometimes 70% in cash for almost 3 years now, and I'm really happy with that.
Absolutely.
Like I'd rather be wrong for 3 to 5 years and then right,
Yep.
and then make a multiple than.
Well,
nothing wrong with it.
Jacob, you can sit there and get 4.5, maybe 5 in cash, right? You can miss out on the quote 10 or 20%, but then when it crashes and we come back to you and say, "Hey, Jacob, now we'll offer you 10 or 11," you'll be saying, "Man, I am so glad I got all this cash."
Yeah.
Right, because that's when it tells.
Yeah, and then looking at things like oil when it was at what was it, $50 or whatever,
Yep.
and going, "Oh, I'm
Yep.
going to go heavy in that for a bit and
Yep.
rebalance and just be a bit more strategic with it rather
Yep,
than just
absolutely.
willy-nilly investing in the S&P."
100%.
Anyway, what else have we got? Are we done for this one, or have you got something
I
else?
think that's anything.
That's a wrap for the signals and noise, and we'll be coming with a special.
Next
Yes.
week,
The next one.
next week or somewhere, we'll be having a special.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks
Cheers,
for listening.
folks.
This podcast is for educational purposes only and doesn't consider your personal circumstances. Total Money Management Proprietary Limited holds AFSL 568642.